I'm going to talk to you a little bit about hospitals, but I thought I'd start by sharing three things that I'm worried about. So, firstly, as we've talked about, I am worried about using legal words. So, Phil is going to stop me, but please raise your hand, shout out if I'm not being clear. The second thing I'm a bit worried about is answering your questions, only because, as you'll have seen, there's a lot of information and there's different rules in different places and it's changing. So while I can't give individual legal advice, I'm going to give you as much information as possible and practical tips to help you, and links. As we said, Magda will be giving you the links to things. I'm not as technically good at putting the links in whilst I'm talking, but we will provide those for you. And the other thing that I'm worried about is I'm lucky at the moment. I don't have any family in hospital or in an assessment and treatment unit, but I am worried if my children had to go into hospital, they're older teenagers. So would I be allowed to visit them? And do I really want to be having to argue about visiting when I'm stressed and anxious already? So there's that whole environment. So what does the government say about hospital visits? And this includes assessment and treatment units that are run by the NHS. I will talk a little bit about private ones in a minute, but just for a minute, this is just general hospitals and ATUs. The government says visiting is allowed in a very careful and COVID secure way. Now that's what the government says. So they're not saying that there's a ban on visiting, just like with the care homes. But what the government isn't talking about now is visiting disabled people, and they did talk about that before, so that's not very helpful. So each hospital has to decide its own rules and what they consider is a careful and COVID secure way. So how can you find out what your hospital's rules are? Well, most of them have got them on their internet page, and they're on the first page and they're there and they do update them. You can also telephone the hospital. I had a quick look at some general hospitals, and quite a few did say that they would allow carers to visit patients with support needs. They would have to wear face coverings and observe the hygiene, etc. There's also, I don't know, some of you may have seen hospital passports and COVID-19 passports. So these are documents that you can prepare for you, your family member, your friend, before they, in preparation in case they might have to go into hospital. And it's a document that you fill in and put information about yourself, and it helps you with what information to put in, so staff can learn about you quickly, learn about you and what you like and dislike and your needs. The COVID one is a bit shorter. There are some examples on the Learning Disability England website, but you might have seen them before. You might have better examples to share with the group of those. So they can be helpful if you were to have to go into hospital anytime, whether it be a COVID time or not. So how do you make sure that you will be allowed to visit as a carer? Because it's all very well if it says that, but you might get there and get turned away. So you want to make sure in advance that you're going to be allowed in. There are various people you can talk to in the hospital, and I would start with the ward manager. So this is the person in charge of the ward. In a general hospital, they might not be a nurse, so they might have to talk to the matron, who will be a nurse. The hospital should give you the information of who the ward manager is and how you contact them. If you're having trouble contacting the ward manager, or that still doesn't get you in to visit, there's something called the Patient Advice and Liaison Service, which you may have heard called PALS. And every hospital has a PALS, and this is a team who are in the hospital to support people and give them advice when they're going into hospital, when they're in hospital, and to deal with any complaints. And their details should be on the website, or again, the hospital can give them to you. Some hospitals do have learning disability nurses who can help you prepare for going into hospital, help you when you're in hospital. I don't think all hospitals have this service, but it's probably worth looking if your local hospital does. Now, if it's a visit to an assessment and treatment unit, then it will be talking to the ward manager or the care coordinator, or your loved one might well have an advocate, so a person who is putting forward, saying what your loved one's wishes and feelings are. So they would also be a good person to contact to help you with the visiting. I should also say that the Right to Visit website, which Oliver has been involved in and put the link up, but we'll get it again, has got some really helpful information to help you think about what to say about why you should be allowed to visit, and it guides you through this. And if you're not getting very far with speaking to people and you need to take it to the next stage, there are also templates or letters that you can use to write to the hospital, the ward manager, etc. It also helps you with the visiting policy. So you can ask the treatment unit or the hospital for their visiting policy, and you can look at this and see if it does what the government is telling it to do. And the website also helps you with that.